Culture, powered by Flavor with Dan, Shukul and Itzy Red Scarf.
Very important guest this week, and for the Culture Chat, the legend, the myth, the man himself, the Poker Master.
Talofa.
I'll be overseeing the Kiss the Ring. And he's brought in a very special guest. In fact, maybe you'd like to make the introduction.
Yeah, here to celebrate and help out with our fundraiser, the I Love Samoa, all the way via LA, via Japan, is the Uso himself, Iakopo. Reggae artist. What's up?
Hey, or as I would say, kia ora.
Yeah.
Kia ora. How do you love it here in Aotearoa so far?
Man, I love the vibe. The people so friendly and weather nice,
Weather good?
Yeah, weather
Tell you what,
good.
it's not always like this.
I told him that. I told him, I said, you heard of the phrase 4 seasons in one day?
100%.
Someone wrote a song about it and made a lot of money from it because it's true.
Yeah. I think it was like Split Ends or Crowded House.
Crowded House.
There
you go.
Man, hey, I know mine.
I'm trying to see what's good with the long white cloud.
I get it. Wouldn't be reggae.
Oh, he's true to reggae, I'll tell you that.
Now, the brother Iakopo, you got a really special story to tell because, you wanted to be part of this kaupapa. You wanted to be part of the I Love Samoa and the efforts that have been taking place to raise money for those affected in Samoa. So, I mean, how did you come across all of this,
Instagram,
IG.
Yeah. I was scrolling down and I saw the event and I reached out to Brother D and we made it happen.
All right.
Right.
Because your story
We just make it happen. This is the man right here.
I'm telling you how we made it happen. It's incredible, man. Of zero budget, we started at zero, and then all of a sudden, he's gonna perform in Auckland, Wellington, Gold Coast, and then go back to Samoa. Nice. All paid by him. The efforts that he went and got. And that, just on flights alone, because we have a flight attendant here as well, that's like $25,000. And we started off at zero. No, man, I'm telling you. But, once again, where the heart is, everything is possible. So, shout out to
man. Thank you, Brother D, and I Love Samoa team. It's great to see people everybody coming together for a good cause, and in the spirit of giving and gratitude.
Well, and gratitude, to you both for doing this, for setting it up, for being here to do it. I dabble a little bit in that promotional game, but and I know a thing or two, and I know how hard it is to put something like this together, let alone to do it on the back of an oily rag to be able to raise the funds for those people.
Yes, sir. But God is good, and you believe in something, and you know how it is as promoters. Hey, sometimes you gotta put your kahunas on the line. You know what I mean? Because it's what you believe in. Yeah. And because you believe in it so much, you convince this person that in what you believe in, and it just flows on. And so I made someone who's in LA at the time believe in what we were doing. He convinced other people who believe in it, and here he is. That's as much as I can say how that happened anyway.
Well, we mentioned it on the radio show before, but the caliber of artists that you've been able to pull together for this is astonishing.
10 years ago when we did the tsunami, we did a fundraiser for tsunami. It was the old Vector Arena. Even then we had Neil Finn. We had the Finn brothers. We had Dave Dobbin. Bick Runga. You know what I mean? It's like they all did something in Samoa. I said, Neil rang me and he's like, Brother D, those fallers on Lalomanu Beach, I've written a couple of songs on there, So I'm like, oh, damn. It's like everybody's being touched and everybody had something to do with Samoa. So
I love those fallers too.
Yeah, they're great fallers, right? Yeah. They got brand new ones too. But so, and now, once again, and, the caliber we have, legends, Annie Crummer, Arija, it just, Sav and the boys are coming through, and and of course we have the king of island reggae. We got Fiji there, and that to me, that's it. That's the lineup. If you ever look at it, that's what you call love, because nobody is getting paid from all this. You know what I mean? But their hope and their wish is, with their effort, to put their name on there and perform on Tuesday night, that we're going to be able to raise some funds.
Talking about Sav, he's been doing a lot in his own other circles for other causes, particularly around suicide prevention, mental health awareness and things like that. He's been putting in that work lately to be able to do good, just like what you're doing.
Bro, Sav, apple doesn't fall far from the tree. Yeah. He's a branch of what we done. And so Sav is one of those kids. He grew up hard too. So, he understands that, the position he's in and the platform he's in is, it's a blessing. So, for a kid from Rewa who used to eat out of a garbage can and that, now he's able to have a platform that he can, shed some light, give a little bit of help. Bro, I said, do it. We got to do it. We got to do our part. You know what I mean? We're blessed. That's what I can say.
There's definitely not been a single person in Aotearoa, I believe, that hasn't truly been affected in some way or another by what happened over in Samoa. In fact, for a New Zealand-born Samoan, what's the effect been like on someone like you and your whānau?
So for us, it's really, when you see the deaths and it's kids, it's heartbreaking. It really is. And to see so many different artists and everyone just coming together and helping out, it's honestly a beautiful thing. And at times I'm just at a loss for words on when I think about what some families are going through. And you're right. You said that you guys are helping them out, not with just the sort of aftermath of what's happened, and the mental stress of losing a child. Life cycle should be a parent shouldn't be bearing a child. It should be So it's really awesome to see you guys doing that and commend you guys, man.
One of the cool things that you brought up in the radio show before as well was that the money is going directly to the families that have been affected.
100%. 100%.
In the news lately, I'm sure you've probably seen, has been about what's been happening over in Australia with the Red Cross and all these other, and the way that they've restricted funding to be released to those directly affected.
Crazy, right?
Crazy.
It's like, who gives you the right to do that sort of stuff? You know what I mean? Money, raised for a tragedy should go to the tragedy, and
as quickly as possible.
Yeah, as quickly as possible. The victims are the tragedy. I mean, we are like I said, we align ourselves with Alofa Mo Samoa, which is Michael Jones and his team. Their fundraising, they had that give a little page with Sonny Bill and all the rugby boys. Yeah. So the money they raised, which I think was like 100K, they went and did it. They set the system up with a bank in Samoa, and they were able to get this money straight to the families. There's other people out there and who are trying to go to the families who've been going to the families in the villages and giving them envelopes. The problem with that is, the whole, if you know Samoa, you have a whole system there. It's called the Matai system. So the Matais will come up with their handout. Everybody gets whatever it gets, And so if you only, let's say, got $500 to give to the family, before it gets to them, $400 will be gone. And so the way Michael and his team have set this up, the village don't know. They never publicized it. They just went quietly and just got hold of a bank, and then they issued I believe it was like bank cards and just rang the families to come in, that the bank want to talk to you. So of course they all come in and they're like, here, this is a card. It's got amount. I think it was like $2,500. So Michael and them were able to put into, I think it was like 65 families at that time.
Wow.
And he said, you guys decide whatever you want to do with it. But, we just wanted to do it this way, just so you don't have to go through, red tape, the village red tape, you know what I mean? So so Michael said that, I was like, that's exactly what we want, That's in my heart of hearts, that's where I need to go. We need to go there. So I just told our team, I said, every money we raise is just going to go straight here. you know. So Michael's already set it up. We just let him do it all over again, and we put our efforts in what we know how to do. Let's promote a show, let's get some good acts, and let's let the people know. And hopefully, you know, if they can come to support, man, Dad, I got people, they're buying 10 tickets and just like, you know, messaging me like, what's the bank account? I'm buying 10 tickets. You choose who you give those tickets. We can't make it because we live in Rotorua. You know, I got people ringing up, like hitting me and like we like to donate, you know, $100. That's 5 tickets at $20. You choose who you want to give that to. And so, because I can't thank them and they don't want to be known, so I just hit on, you know, on socials and just let people know like, yo, man, you know, someone just bought 10 tickets, and they're like, give it to whoever. I said, if you can't really afford to come and you want to come and check it all this out, here, I got these tickets available. Hit me. Tell me a good story about Samoa. And their ticket's yours. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of that going on, Dan, and you know, I can't say enough the thankfulness and the gratitude I feel about everybody coming together. And it's just not just the music as well. It's you know, just people at large, like, you know, just hitting me on the side like, I'm like, fuck.
Has mainstream New Zealand done enough to help Samoa?
I don't know. I'm not a professional at that stuff. You know.
Yeah.
I love to say no.
Yeah.
But you know, it's not my area of expertise. My area of expertise is bringing people together, shows, artists.
Yeah.
And so this is what I know, and so I go back to what I know and put it on.
One of the things that's bothered me a little bit, being Māori, you know, is I think the lack of koha, the lack of giving, the lack of manaakitanga, we call it, you know, to our island, you know, brothers and sisters, you know, our whānau as well. We all come from the same path when we came here. We just got off on different intersections, you know what I mean? And I always thought that I would have seen, you know, some of the iwi, some of the Māori-run organisations be a little bit more forthgiving to what was going on in Samoa. And this is not even just a rack up conversation. That's just me saying that I was disappointed.
Yeah.
You know, as a young Māori man, to be looking at my people and saying, hey, one day we're going to be affected by something. Yeah. Why aren't we being as forthcoming to give or whatever? There's a lot of money here in the putia, as we call it. You know, here in New Zealand, amongst particularly some of the larger iwi.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so that disappointed me a little bit. And also the lack of buy-in from mainstream media and that sort of thing. It was almost like it was a hot topic point for 5 minutes.
That's right.
And then a volcano erupted. And that's not to undermine the tragedy that happened at Whakaari White Island. But it was to almost say, well, we went from talking about this hot topic, then all of a sudden, well, no, this was the new disaster, the new devastation now. Do you know what I mean? And that disappoints me a little bit.
Yeah. Well, you know, once again, you know, there's I feel the same way. I've lived most of my life in Aotearoa, you know. Some of my good friends are, you know, of Māori ethnicity, you know, and we believe that we're together as one. So that little disappointment you talked about, Dan, I feel the same way too, you know, because, you know, I just feel like when it's tragedy like this that happened to us, I expect mainstream media not to pick up on it, you know what I mean, or shed a little bit of light to it, you know. I expect, you know, mainstream organizations like the Frontiers and all that sort of stuff, they don't really care, you know. I don't expect them to come out. But, you know, us as Māori and Polynesians, come on, man.
Well, I'm hoping our Māori people on the ground are out there buying tickets to this, because A, it's a great night entertainment, and B, it's for a very worthwhile cause, you know. And so I encourage everyone.
I got one. It's 10 tickets he bought. Yeah. A Māori boy from Rotorua.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah, and you know, he's married to a Samoan woman.
Yeah.
And he was like, brother, I can't get there, but here's $200 and 10 tickets. Give it to someone who's worthy, who you feel is worthy to get there. that to me was like,
Yeah, I think I should clarify what I was saying. It wasn't necessarily so much everyday, Kiwi Māoris and that sort of thing.
I know what you're saying.
It's the big iwis, that have the billions of dollars, the millions and millions rolling through. And this money's not even from treaty settlements. This money is now forward from that, from commercial enterprise and investment.
Yeah.
We're talking about my hapu alone are valued at almost $1 billion. And we're not even one of the largest iwi
Can I have some?
Well, that's what our people say too. Our people sit there at times saying, where's our piece of the pie? Not because we're a people that have our hand out, because like a lot of society, it's top heavy. The top 5% are the ones that are reaping the benefits, whether it be through nepotism or greed or all of that. One of the things I do like about Pacific Island culture, and maybe it's because the economy isn't the same here as in New Zealand, is that it isn't so top heavy in most parts. Do you know what I mean? There's a little bit more giving and sharing of the load a little bit. I find sometimes as Māori we're not so good at that. Sometimes we're a little bit too us and them, into Māori within iwis and that, back and forth, and it disappoints me.
I've seen a lot of that sort of attitude in in our industry, especially like iwi stations, and Māori artists. I've seen a little bit of that, and I think if they can get over that, I don't know what it is, or whether it's enrooted or it's how they were brought up, but I think if one Māori artist can go and support another Māori artist, you know what I mean, or even like the iwi stations, I feel like we got to get rid of the competitiveness, because it's all for the same purpose. Like one iwi station shouldn't be trying to beat the other iwi station, because you're an iwi station. It's for your people, it's for your for your area. The messages, the music, the opportunities should flow within all the iwi stations the same way. But I feel like somehow it doesn't.
Do you know why I think that is? And this is like one of the most unpopular opinions in all of Te Ao Māori. All right,
let's go, Dad.
And I got to, and I got to plant my feet down because, the most unpopular opinion amongst Māori is that we're constantly weighed down by the chip on our shoulder. Yes, systematically, that is, what you're talking about before about us and them and competitiveness, and why I spoke about it a little bit. It's been created out of systematically, being. We call it being takahied, being stood on, stomped on, for a long time. But how long do we have to keep carrying that burden? It's, you know what it's like when you have an argument with someone or you have a fight, and carrying the burden, it weighs you down and it drains a lot of energy out of you. And I think with something like this, generationally, that's what's been doing to our people for a long time. And that's what's hurting us quite a lot. So, I'm just glad that there are people like you out there, Brother D, who want to be able to contribute back, not just to your people, but to all of Aotearoa, all of the Pacific.
This is our home. First and foremost, this is our home. I was brought up in this country, and so were my kids, my family. We've been accepted. We we've gotten on and made great living through this country. There's so much we owe to Aotearoa, you know what I mean? But it's like at times you find people trying to separate it when it comes down to the race card as well. Like first they want us to be together, then all of a sudden it's like no, we're Māoris. You guys are islanders. You know what I mean? And it's like nah.
Mainstream loves wedging that in between though.
Yeah. Of course, but what can we do? We can only talk about it and give our opinion and that. So.
And do our bit, every day. Play our part and all of that. So, it sucks sometimes because, we're so closely interlinked.
100%.
I was having this conversation with my mother-in-law because she's Samoan. And talking about the the similarities within our culture and the similarities in our language and all of that, and and it's a shame that sometimes we are, us and them mentality, because I tell you what, we all come from the same place.
Aye.
So
Aye.
and talking about where we come from, Iakopo, I understand. I was listening into a little bit of the conversation going before, because your name, interesting, and then a lot of things sort of started to click. So you grew up for a time in Samoa.
Yeah. In Samoa, one of the great lessons of many lessons that I'm so grateful that I got a chance to be on the receiving end and just to watch it. Speaking about giving and community and stuff, it's just a small little thing about note that we can look at the Samoan people and the Samoan culture is when I was a kid. So after. When I was a kid, living in the village lifestyle, we would go and there's like maybe 100 families, 200 families living in one village. So we would go and we would take a fish net and we would go out to the ocean and we catch some fish, and maybe Pops would take one or two of the boys and go up, a couple times a month we would go up to the mountain and harvest some kalo, and come back by 5 o'clock. So we got fish in kalo, and we come back, we prepare it, right? And then, we would send some of the little kids. We'd send the kamaiki, a couple kids. We'd give, 5 kalo to one kid, 5 kalo to another kid, 5 fish to another one, and we send them out to the neighbors. Send the kids out to the neighbors. So we got enough food for us. All of the whatever is left over, we don't need to try to put in the fridge or save for tomorrow. We give it to the kids. We send them out to the neighbor's house, and hey, go give these fish to the neighbor, to this one. Go give these 5 kalo to the neighbor, right? And you never know. Maybe they don't even have food that day, or maybe they had a big feast at their house, and they send them back with something else, and send them back with rice or something nice. So to be able to see how the community operates together out of the spirit of giving. It's not on if you get back or you don't, but sometimes they're gonna come back with something better. Sometimes they might not come back with anything, but it doesn't matter. It's just the cycle of life. And so I feel so blessed and so grateful that I was able for a time in my life to be able to just see that with my eyes, because all of these things, these things is getting lost as time goes on more and more and more. It's the same thing. I mean, we could apply a lot of the same, we could exchange similar stories about America, the situation, the systematic, of what's been created to, different people over there. There's been divided by race or color, and the history that goes behind that, and how it was created. It was created that way systematically. So So I just wanted to share that it was observation.
That's awesome.
Wow.
What did you think, like going through and living in the village and being part of the process, the village rules almost, like we used to have them as well. Like, what type of impact does that have with you today?
I think it builds a lot of character. It really builds a lot of character, and especially being an artist on as you're going out there in international, you're dealing with so many different kinds of people. And then you notice all these little things, these small little reasons why everybody has an excuse, why there's no unity, why there's no love. Everybody has a reason. Okay, I'm gonna, and this kind of a thing is like one love, for humanity. One love for the earth. We got to take care of the earth. We this is our responsibility as humans. So everything's so simple, and that's why I'm so grateful that I was able to experience that and see it from that perspective of seeing the world in a very simple way. And that's where I will be forever in debt to Samoa, is teaching me love and simplicity.
Yeah.
How long did you live in the States for? In Samoa for?
all of high school, you know.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I moved there in junior high school, and then I graduated high school, and then I started turning up. You know, I had a little few months of turn up time, and it was like it's time to go make some money. You know, it's my dad, my Samoan dad, who would sit down every single day after high school. He would come back and be in the back. You know, the most laid back, mellow man you ever meet. Say, Iakopo, let's make the plan. You make the plan, you do the plan. You know, every day he's coming back, make the plan, do the plan. I'm scratching my head like, make the plan, do the plan. And then it was like, Iakopo, you make the plan, you go to America, you come back some more, you do the plan. I'm like, okay, all right, I'm starting to get it. I was like, you know, and then I was like, all right, I'm going to go to Hawaii. I'm going to do music. And it worked. Now I got to come back and do the plan. You know? It took a while. I'm sorry. I know you've been wearing those same size 10 Adidas that I like. We're gonna get there though.
So your music roots are from Hawaii.
I mean, Samoa, really. I mean, Jamaica too. And America.
He told us about, you know, a couple of spots in a band that he was associated with. He sang for, and that's called the Mount Via Band. And that band is named after the Mount Via nightclub. That club then is probably one of the worst clubs in all of Samoa. They shut it down. You know. Because at a certain time at that club, bottles will go flying, you know, and you know it's like the flying jug back in his stomach. But that's what happened, you know, and the name, nightly. You know, the name, you know, it became famous for that, and so the Mount Via Band, you know. They're just the reputation that they carried. You know, even I knew about Mount Via. Yeah, you know.
So that's how it comes back. Is how I started when I was in high school. We used to beat at lunchtime. We used to beat on the lunch table.
What school did you go to?
Pesenga. I graduated from Pesenga. So at lunchtime, we would, you know, a few of the boys would get together, you know, we just, you know, having fun, you know, a few girls, and we just, you know, whatever, singing, rapping, freestyling, just having, you know,
having fun.
So we would beat on the lunch table, make the beat. Some other guys would be making some percussion noises, and then a few of us would, you know, we would be singing, rapping, freestyling. It's just what we did for fun. And then one day, and I guess that he lives here, a brother by the name of Siosi Akele. Siosi, if you're listening, hit me up. But my friend, his name was Siosi Akele. We were in the same class at school. He was a very like suave. He ended up dating my sister, so I was like, I don't know. He was being really cool to me. Next thing I know, I'm like, hey, sis, you see his head pop out the bush. I'm like, Chelsea. So he ended up inviting me to Mount Via. His uncle or cousin, somebody was the man that was like the leader of the band. So he brought me down there one weekend during the day, and he's like, I didn't know where I was going. He brought me down, and he also gave me my first tattoo. Right. But he brought me down, introduced me to the band leader. He's like, hey, you know, and we did a little jam session, and then they ended up inviting me to be part of the band. And so Friday and Saturday nights, it was going down. And
how much were you getting paid?
Like 30, 40 tala, you know. That's enough for a few drinks. It's a taxi ride, and
my ninja got paid 30, 40 tala, bro, for a show.
And I'm you know, you're talking a 15-year-old kid, right. You know.
Yeah.
That's enough.
I was loving it. I mean, since you said it's not on terrestrial radio, so I mean, we were smoking, drinking, you know, every other thing that happens along the way. And after, so I was living my best life.
Dan and Etsy know a lot about that that lifestyle.
We'll leave it in the past.
So your story is really incredible, and I've only been sitting here with you for the last hour. Listening to the conversation you're having with Shoko and Etsy before, and listening to what you've been telling us. So, you're original. Where were you born?
I was born in Orange County, California.
All right.
Yeah.
And
Outside of LA.
and how long did you live in California before? We like what? Because it sounds things. Your family. Did your family move to Samoa? Oh, you said your sister or something was.
This is the part where it gets interesting.
Yeah.
All right. Let's get there.
There's a few
Have a little
twists.
rundown
Yeah.
of how you went from Cali
So,
to Samoa.
So, there's a behavior modification program.
That's what it is.
There was it was in Samoa called Paradise Cove, and it was run by a guy named Brian Vaifanua. But it was there was a guy behind that who political figures in America. Let's just say the very high up political figure. Mitt Romney was one of them. He actually ran for president in America, and he was actually the main guy behind it. And Brian Vaifanua was the face.
Tell us what Paradise Cove was. I know it's a little bit hard sometimes for you to talk about, but we need to understand. You know what I mean? Yeah, it is.
It was a behavior modification program. So basically, they would send kids that was having trouble with their families or with the law. It was a lot of Mormon kids or political figure kids, or like kind of like higher up kids, like parents that were kind of, you know what I mean?
Mitt Romney was Mormon, correct?
Yeah. And he ran for president. He was a very very powerful.
We heard that name right then. We heard that
billionaire,
name.
And so, but anyway, so I don't know all the details of everything that was behind it. I was just a kid. I just got sent there, so I don't really know all that stuff. It eventually got shut down, for child abuse and stuff like that. I lived through it, and some of the kids ended up committing suicide. Some of the kids ended up killing.
Yeah, there was rumors. I heard about that place, and there was rumors in Samoa that they were sort of running like an adoption. Sort of, not adoption, but they were like literally. That's the word I use.
Like child trafficking.
Child trafficking out of that area, and I remember when we went there because where Paradise Cove is like right down the bottom, and the only way you can access is you come from this village, and it's right high. I remember we used to go there, and because I heard stories about it, and I'll go to the edge, and because that's the only way you can see it, is you go to the edge of the cliff and you look down, and as we're doing that, the families that are in that village will come and get out of here. You guys not allowed to be here. You're trespassing or blah, 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 this, you know what I mean? And so that just added to the whole mystery of Paradise Cove. And so when
I was down there, I'm like, help!
but it was very real. And I guess sometimes, I know why Iakopo finds it hard to open up about it because, like you said, kids committed suicide in there, like it was some.
What's there today? Is it still?
It was shut down by the government.
It's
done. It's done. And the crazy thing is it was shut down, and some of the kids were just left.
Yeah,
like the staff,
they just left them there.
Left the kids there.
How many years ago was this?
Oh, this was quite a what? This was 10 years ago.
Okay.
10, 12.
Still quite recent.
It's
12 years ago now, I think. So, no, maybe more than that.
It's crazy. I tell you what. When I look back at some like the Bill Cosby stuff, and then some of the stuff that high-powered people or celebrity type people would get away with years and years and years ago, it blows my mind. And this is another example of
was that type of thing happening down there?
I mean, there was all kind of stuff happening down there. I mean, anything you could think of, it was probably happening.
And how many kids were all there when you were there?
So it was like 3 coves. It's like this place, you've seen it.
Yeah.
As Fangatele, there's the Fanga and Sinalele.
Yeah.
There's these three villages. So it's basically like like you said, you're on a cliff. Like you're way
only
up on
way
the
you
cliff.
can see it.
You're way down there. It's like you lay at the Grand Canyon looking down.
That's right.
And there's no way out.
Crazy.
No lies. And that's
There's
the
no
only way,
out
like
'cause
you
it's the
can't
earth.
get hold of
like
Someone up top, you can't get hold of it unless you know the access way to go up.
Well, it's been chosen strategically.
That's right. Yeah.
In fact, picking Samoa as the venue, you know,
it's like that. You know what I mean?
That was the point. Well, these high-powered guys back in the United States, you know, these politicians and that and whatever lobbyists were involved and people involved in setting up places like this. That's why they pick places like Samoa because they think it's so far away.
Yeah. That's right. It's one of those hush hush.
Look at Guantanamo Bay.
Yeah. All that sort of stuff. Yeah.
Exactly. And they were doing. I believe they were doing. It was like a multi-dimensional operation. Like it wasn't just one thing going on. It was kind of like this testing ground of like, hey, you know, they're trying different things on the kids. Yeah. Like the things, the things that they used to do to us, like. You know, it causes damage. It doesn't rehabilitate anything. It causes very deep scars. You know, in the kids. And I mean, I deal with that. You know, I deal with it from time to time where it starts to come up a little bit. I mean, I'm good, but there's certain times. And sometimes when I try to talk about it.
Yeah,
I'm okay.
I see it, you know. I see it like every time he tried. You know, because I'm when me and him talk, I'm like, tell me about it. But he always struggles, and you can see that. And so, anytime someone, you know, something like this has happened, you know, traumatized. You know, our kids are traumatized. That's where you see that, you know, kids growing up, those silent kids that go and sit in the corner by themselves, you know, all quiet. These are the sort of reasons because. They can't express or tell somebody what's happening or what's going on because they get so traumatized. And because I do a little bit of, you know, I mentor some young people in South Auckland, and I work with youth justice and oranga tamariki, you know. So I see these cases, you know, of some of our children that, you know, and the reasons why, you know, we have such a high suicide rate in New Zealand. I see it because, like, the system doesn't even want to understand what's going on in that child. Do you know what I mean? All they do, who's looking after him? How many hours it's going to look after this kid? You know what I mean? 24 hours. Okay, good. That's that day done. Who's looking after the next day? And they never deal with the real issue, you know? And that's whatever traumatic, you know, event that's went on that's made that kid, like, quiet, or get more in trouble, or, you know, they never deal with that. It doesn't get dealt with. I'm sorry. I mean, you know, I work with these organizations that, you know, probably won't take me on anymore, but, you know, like Oranga Tamariki. But our kids, it needs to be more. You know, we can't just worry about their everyday life, and that's where, you know, the budgets for that's where it goes to. They hire people like myself to mentor them, but the mentoring is more like just babysitting them. And so when I come back to them, you know, with reports like, yo, he doesn't speak to me. That's not mentoring. Why can't we find out why he won't speak to me? You know what I mean? But they don't want it. It's like, oh, you're not a professional at that. I'm like, I'm not a professional, but I'm a father. And when I speak to my kids, they respond to me. And I'm like, I'm trying to speak to this child, but he's not responding.
Yeah, well, it's typical or atypical government scenario where there's a lack of funding to do it, to look after them and give them the proper resources. Because I feel sorry as well. Don't get me wrong, I most feel sorry for the kids, but I feel sorry for those that are working for agencies like Oranga Tamariki, because they want to do right, but they're given so little resources to be able to do it properly. And the reason because there's no reciprocated value back to the government. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. This is my belief, is that agencies that look after or create revenue opportunities is what is the main focus for most governments. If you have a look at the United States, then the number one revenue machine for the United States is obviously standard income tax. But during wartime, the United States machine, which is creating
the bullets,
and the guns and the tanks and all that sort of thing, that is when the economy is at its most most height.
Thriving.
Thriving.
Yeah.
That's the word. And in countries like New Zealand, it's no different. It may not be wartime economy, but what it is, it's times of struggle when you're able to, the government's able to go, okay, well, we're going to put a little bit of resources there. We're going to tick a couple of boxes and say, we attended to that. But really what they're focusing on is, worrying about things like, don't get me wrong, like when it comes to things such as medicinal marijuana and things like that, it's been shoved down the line. Why? Why are we not putting more money into better research so we understand?
Yeah, exactly.
Why it took us so long to get to where we are now? Why are we not putting more money into Oranga Tamariki? Why are we not giving more resources to the Pacific Islands? For a long time, New Zealand's benefited from the output of energy and output of resources from the islands.
That's right. I guess just from my experience when I'm working with these children, it's like, the thing is, Dan, we know that there's a massive problem because our stats in suicide, of teenage suicide, we're one of the top ones in the world.
Crazy.
And so I see, guys like Mike King trying to develop things in order to work with these children and that. But if the system is broken, we're just going to get more and more and more of these children who later on gonna, you know what I mean?
Yep.
And so we're not really helping them. We're actually just letting them be until the day that they make the choice. We're
almost, and I say we, but we mean the government. We mean New Zealand. We're almost in a way enabling the situation. Like we say we're doing more, we say we're putting in resources, we say we're trying to talk to them, but really what we're doing is we're actually saying, we'll talk to you for now, but go wait over there. And it sucks. So, but this is not just New Zealand centric. This is not just here. This is all around the world.
That's right.
It's the same thing. Countries don't know. In fact, people, I feel in general, don't understand mental health. And I mean that in a broader sense. There's people obviously that do, but if you think about being a general statement here, as a people, we don't always really understand mental health. I can remember, and I come from several bouts of depression in my life. Clinically depressed, being having to utilize services like Manaki House and places like that to be able to try and get over humps and those sorts of things. And we're not putting enough effort into educating not the people who are suffering, but the people around us. I can remember being, early 20s, and my dad saying to me, come on, pick it up, you're all right, the old, come on, son, type of thing. Now, if I was to go through a bout of depression now, the conversation's very different because my dad's been able to learn about how I'm being affected or that sort of thing. There's not enough of that in the broader society to be able to teach and do you know what I mean? And understanding is everything. We can't achieve anything without understanding.
That's right.
Are you still friends with a lot of the kids that you were at that Paradise Cove?
No, but there's probably like 3 or 4 that have reached out. And I hear from them now and then. It might be a year or 2 every couple of years. They might just, hey, how you doing?
Yeah.
So there's 3 or 4. And I had 3 friends that killed themselves. 3. I'm just like, wow. And I'm talking years later.
Years later.
Years later. And then one guy, I heard my friend was telling me a story. He lost it, and he did some crazy. I don't remember the story, so I don't want to try to make it up. But he did something crazy with, you know what I mean? Something just crazy one day. So I mean, the kids, they're definitely not getting rehabilitated. They're not. They don't have the right tools. I think a lot of time is these kids they're very creative. There's something that's just locked up inside because there's some trauma that happened. You know what I mean? It's like if you beat a dog that's on a leash, that's stuck to a, you know what I mean? A dog that's tied up. If you beat him, even one time, he's gonna be, and you do it 2 times, 3 times, he's gonna be damaged. Even you take him off the leash, you let him go, he's gonna be damaged forever because there's that human trust